Hi, friends. My goodness, we sorry we had a little bit of a tech glitch in the background. Vivian, our terrific presenter, her computer decided to freeze up just towards the last 15 minutes. So our plan here is, if you'd like to continue to join in, as I will, we'll keep streaming in this second half video that you see here posted on the website. Then we'll take the archive and just edit them both together. So if you're watching this in the archive, you won't even hear me saying this because this part will be gone. But here we are back with our friends. So I'll pass it back over to you guys. I think who's coming back? Oh, wait, you have to unmute yourselves too. There.
All right.
Okay, here we go. All right, passing back. And we're back.
And we're back.
Okay.
All right.
So how I add media to my posts. So I usually add all the pictures after I write the whole blog post, and I add pictures so that people can visualize what's happening, or they can they can see they can see what's happening, or yeah. And then this picture was from my blog post in which I was writing about the festivals. And then how do I extend my blog post? To extend, I usually give a personal opinion. So like in this blog post, I was writing about the food eaten in India, but like I gave a personal opinion that I like something, so it just makes it more exciting, and yeah. How do I decide how I want my blog post to look like? I usually read my peers' blog posts and get ideas for my organizational pattern, and then I use these ideas in my blog posts. And now Larry.
Hey. All right. So what inspires me? To me, it's mainly other students' blogs that inspire me. For example, as shown here, Rebecca's art inspiration post inspired me to do my tone tan and white paint post. My friends also have a big influence in what I write. For example, let's say someone says some technique that I've done already, and I'll write it down. So it has to be something the public will like, and I'll like to do as well. How do I add media? So I'm quite the opposite of Pranav when it comes to this. I have an idea of what media I'll put in as soon as like my main idea will come up. So I draw before I write. How do I write a lot in a post? I'm quite the teacher, if you will. I give out suggestions and tips in my blog posts. So, like, readers who don't know a lot about the subject have a good idea of what to do. And how do I keep my blog posts organized? Much like Pranav, I do organizational patterns as well. I do steps that are easy for people to follow. And going back to the previous thing I said, I give suggestions and tips in it as well. So I think we'll hand it back to you guys. Yeah.
So I think Ms. Perman right now is going to sort of share about what does it look like now? How do we get them to this point?
Okay, so we talked a lot about the different blogging brands and how the students get their blog ideas and how they begin writing, where they get their inspiration from. And so then, as a teacher, how do I evaluate these blogs and make sure that the students are being accountable for quality work and for quality blog posts? So we do this through a series of mini lessons. The mini lessons are done together, and then we create a checklist based on all of these mini lessons that the students can use as they create each of their blogs. So if you look on the screen, we've created a blog post checklist, and everything that you see on the checklist was something that was a mini lesson for the students. So where it says awesome blog posts have, it says a catchy beginning introduction for the reader that starts with a question, an interesting fact, story, or personal connection or description. So with that, we practiced multiple different types of introductions. So instead of the students just picking one and doing it, they tried all of these different types of introductions, and then they were able to choose what works best for them. I also had them try multiple, so maybe in each post they're trying a different type of introduction, or they're choosing an introduction that lends itself best to the type of post that they're writing. We did the same thing with ending the blogs. We talked about 2 different ways to end blogs, calling the reader action and asking a question, something that might require a comment where they want their peers or whoever's reading their blog post to respond. Again, they tried different types of endings, and then they're able to choose the one that best goes with the post that they're writing. Pranav and Valeria also mentioned organizational patterns, so they can take strategies that they're doing for reading and they can then apply them to their writing. So if they're doing a blog about something that needs to be written in steps, sequential or chronological, or if they're writing problem solution, if they're comparing 2 things, they can use those skills that they know about organizational patterns and put those into their blog writing as well. And then the checklist is something that was a collaborative effort between myself and the students that then they go and use for each post to make sure that they have quality posts each time that they post.
So the next thing we wanted to talk about is how do we move forward with these blogs, like ramp it up. And one of the things that happens a lot today in writing is that writing is no longer just print. It's so many different media. And we really want to hone that in with the students, that knowing that like writing doesn't have to be that with print. It can be with so many other different kinds of text, like photos and diagrams or charts, like Kelly shared with us about one student, how he created his own graph. And so, for instance, Sophie here, my 5th grader last year, used collages to actually represent each step of her process when she shared about cocoon curls, one of her many, many DIY blog posts. And I want to share with you, actually this is a student in Kelly's class right now who decided that she was going to, her whole entire blog is about art. It actually is the one that Valeria was mentioning. And she uses lapse video to quickly show the students the process of an art piece that she is sketching, and she embeds it in her blog post, which is just super impressive and amazing. And so let me go ahead and go back to my slides. So then another thing that we recently noticed about a lot of the multimedia or additional compositions added on an A post is that sometimes they actually are bidirectional. In my mind, it just seems like a lot of the text that they add might actually be work where they are asking for feedback from the reader. So it's no longer one-directional composition. And so, for example, that might mean like a survey, or you post a Padlet where you ask students or readers to actually contribute to it. So there's some sort of feedback beyond just commenting on that blog. And so for this one with the Zika virus, this student was talking about the Olympics, and he decided that, hey, how about I just add a Google form, embed it in there as a questionnaire, and then he was able to actually go into his Google Docs and kind of see the feedback for that. It's pretty just remarkable now, the kinds of writing that we can do, bringing in the world and the audience to our fingertips with the writing that we do. So we want to kind of go now just a quick reflection for Kelly, Pranav, and Valeria of this experience for them. Because in the beginning of our session, we really talked about how blogging, if you do it this way when thinking about a branded mindset, it's no longer just a writing assignment, but it's a lifestyle. It's helping students find a different voice, a new story for them, a new brand. So for Kelly, I guess I wanted her to share is what has made you fall in love with this idea of teaching branded blogs?
Okay, as everyone was presenting today, I was sitting here and I was reflecting on all of the different types of blogs that my students write, and I made a list. And so if I look at my list, I have a variety of different brands. I see music and science and book blogs and art blogs and baking blogs, gaming, sports, photography, travel, inspiration. These are just a few of the different types of blogs that my students write. And this idea that we had that started off as just that, an idea, has totally exceeded my expectations, because out of my 5 years of teaching, I feel like this group of students is the one that I've connected with the most. And I think the reason for that is because of these blogs, because I know who these students are, not as students, but as, you know, who are you when you leave school? What are your hobbies and what are your interests? It's almost like the teacher in me wants to tell the students what to do, and with this blogging, they're their own teachers. They're doing what they know is right. They're writing about their passions, and I'm simply just along for the ride. And it's amazing to see how far the students have come just through this one activity, and how it's become a passion of theirs, and it's something that they do without me telling them to do it. They do it because they're enjoying it, and they're really starting to find a passion for writing, and they're starting to find their voice and their identity and who they are, and it's a really cool thing to see. It's very rewarding.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that was a big deal for me. So Pranav and Valeria, can one of you guys share how this process has impacted you as a writer or even a person?
Okay, so after I began writing blog posts, I now realize that writing is really fun. And these days I even spend some time writing outside of class, not for an assignment, but just for fun.
And to me personally, I've always been a writer. I've always been writing some kind of story or novel, you know, and blog writing is just a whole different thing, and it broadens your view on writing, and it's also broadened my view on the world. Just seeing different people write about different things just changes how you see everything.
And in our conversations too, we realized that we've been talking about us and our personal experience. But we, this whole time, have been talking about how does this change one's perspective of someone else? And so I asked Pranav and Valeria about this, and I really want them to share this real quick. Has someone else's blog changed your opinion about them, like a colleague or a classmate of yours?
Yes. So there's this boy in our class, Sam. He's actually really goofy and silly, but his blog post is about how to take care of pets. And after reading his blog post, now I know he's really smart, and now he knows how to take care of pets. So
right.
That has changed my opinion about him.
And to me, one of the girls in my class, Layla, she's super shy and a tad unapproachable, or to me it seemed. But once reading her blog, which I think one of her posts was about her behind the scenes, if you will, and her life, her personality really comes out in her writing. She's a whole different person in her blogs. It's a really amazing thing to see, really.
I love that. Thank you guys so much for sharing that. So I think I just wanted to close with a thought in mind for you guys, is that in the beginning we talked about, this idea of brand having this really negative connotation in the world today, especially with a lot of the issues going on. However, at the same time, me growing up, I wished that I had a different story or a different brand that people saw me as, and writing and blogging in that case allows students to almost be able to rewrite their story or choose the voice that they want heard in the world. And so my question to you guys is, if we as teachers don't let them choose and don't use writing to let them find their story and choose what they really want to share into the world, then who will, and when will they do it? So it's extremely important that maybe we think about writing as not just something fun and something that we should do in our classrooms, but something we have to do. So thank you so much for coming back to this session, watching the end of this, and this is just amazing to be able to have this topic talked about on the Ed Collab and be able to have our students share and Kelly share. So we just want to say thank you so much for joining in, and if you ever do have a chance, please check out our students' blogs, and we just hope that you have a great time watching the rest of the sessions later. So thank you guys so much. If you guys want to go ahead and say bye, Pranav, Valeria.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
And thank all of you. This was really awesome. I know I leave inspired every time I hear Catherine, and being able to connect with all of you, especially you guys. Thanks for joining us. Was really really a treat for all of us. So thank you. Thanks for going with the flow with our tech issues. As I said, those of you who are watching this recording, you don't even know what we're talking about. But for everyone else, thanks for flipping between, and for all of you being such pros in it too. So right now, just to remind you, we're about to move to, or we're actually already moving into our session 3. So we have a couple different workshops you can join in. Mary Howard and Linda Hoyt are presenting right now on maximizing deep thinking and reflection through independent reading and read aloud. That's workshop 11. Amy Rasmussen and Shanna Cairns are presenting choice as the keystone in secondary English classrooms for grades 6 through 12. That's workshop 12. And the Institute of Play, and a school that they support here in New York City called Quest to Learn, Rebecca and Rachel from there are presenting on game-based teaching strategies for student-centered classroom. And there's also a recording that I put together of, it's very short, it's just about 7 minutes, on previews for our upcoming learning opportunities in 2016-2017. So that's available at the Workshop 10 link, but of course you can watch that at any time. And as always, please remember to donate to today's charity, especially if you normally would go grab a cup of coffee or go get some lunch right now. Consider donating the funds you would have spent on something else to our donated charity of the day, Doctors Without Borders. So thanks all. Again, thank you to all of you. Thanks for going with the flow, and on top of that, doing a really inspiring session. And thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.